reflexes may be classified in a number of ways. In terms of their origin, they are either inherited or acquired through experience.
Inherited or through acquired. These things, when I touched, I stepped over a tap, I removed my legs, or touched a hot stove. Is inherited or acquired? When I touched a hot stove, I removed hand. Is inherited or I learned to do that? Because even a child can. A baby touches a hot stove, immediately the baby moves. So it is not something, even you just go to nearly an ant and touch the ant, what you will do? Immediately run away, or lizard or anything, so it is a reflection. It's not acquired, it is. So the two types of reflexes there. One reflex you inherited, then other reflexes are acquired. For example, you are learning typing. A, B, C, D, E, F. And then afterwards, as the words coming to your eyes, and automatically your reflexes now, you don't have to think where A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, you have to learn. Or playing a violin or piano, same thing. It becomes a habit. It's called acquired reflexes. Read it again.
Reflexes may be classified in a number of ways. In terms of their origin, they are either inherited or acquired through experience. The reflexes just mentioned above are all examples of inherited ones.
All these are inherited.
The pathways for them having been established during the course of evolution. In an experimental animal, all of these can be demonstrated even after the brain has been destroyed.
See, they want to find out when, of course I won't admit, but anyhow, some of the experiments how they did find out, these reflexes, inherited reflexes, in animals, they take the brain off. Only the spinal cord, and still the reaction will be there, but in a delayed way. This is very important for you. You'll understand this much better after finishing this. It's very, very important, the coming few things about how any injury in the brain and the disconnection of the spinal cord. The spinal cord can do certain action independent of the brain. But when the brain is disconnected, then it takes time. There is a temporary, though the reflex action is coming through this, as you saw how the gray matter of the spinal cord without going to the brain, but since brain has got something to do. If the brain is removed completely, for a time being, recovery takes long time for the spinal cord to react to the reflexes, and the various difficulties coming in reflexes. This is the last thing we are going to discuss about this, and the rest will come tomorrow or today, whatever you can. Take it up.
Acquired or conditioned reflexes are ones we learn by repetition of performance. The finger movements in typing or playing the piano or violin are examples of such reflexes. Since they are dependent upon the highest levels of the brain, we shall discuss them later.
So that acquired is not through the spinal cord. Acquired one is not done through it is because of the brain. So that reflexes, the learning reflex is not done through the inherited one. It's different. That's why the two different sort of reflexes coming from the brain and coming from the inherited reflexes. Because inherited reflexes came in the scale of evolution. Even before the brain came, there was spinal cord was acting. This simple arc, what do you call arc? Reflex arc. This was there as a simple circuit, simple mechanism. But as the brain started developing, at the end of the spinal cord came a central mechanism. And because of that central mechanism, we are able to acquire reflexes. Otherwise, we will not be able to carry on our activities at all. As an intelligent being, we have to drive a car. Every day, can you drive a car to know where the clutch and where the steering wheel and so forth? So, typing action, many of our actions, we learn and pass it on to the central nervous, to the brain. That's what we are discussing. Now they are explaining how they found out this. So they cut off the brain completely, only the spinal cord is there, and what are the reflexes, they can get it out without the brain.
Another method of classification is in terms of complexity. Simple reflexes are those in which a single muscle gives a response to a single stimulus.
That is, just stimulate this, you get a simple contraction, simple reflex.
The knee jerk is an example. Most reflexes, however, involve more than one muscle and are known as coordinated reflexes. The flexion reflex in the leg, for instance, includes the contraction of a flexor muscle of the leg.
Contraction of the flexor muscle also,
which bends the leg at the knee, and the simultaneous relaxation of an extensor muscle which straightens the leg at the knee. Chain reflexes are coordinated ones, but are compound in nature. A series of reflexes in which one acts as the stimulus for the next.
like walking.
The rhythmic series of movements that make up walking is a chain reflex. Many extended...
So, how many reflexes are there? Simple reflex, an impulse came, hot stove is touched, you move your hand, simple. And the second type of reflex is here exactly. That is, one muscle has to contract, flex, but other muscle also get an impulse to relax. Flexors and extensors are involved simultaneously. But one flexor is contracting, but simultaneously the impulse is coming to the other one to extend. Next, third. Chain reaction. That is called the walking. That impulse is, you are not thinking, or you are just walking and talking to your friends. But are you just sending the impulse consciously? It became a reflex. So one right leg goes and left leg goes and right leg goes and left leg goes. So it becomes chain reflexes.
Many extended instinctive acts, such as the homing instincts of bees and birds, are also reflexes in this category. If the types of receptors which initiate a reflex are considered, there are three classes of reflexes. Stimulation of exteroceptors, receptors in the surface regions of the body, give rise to exteroceptive reflexes.
Just like the heat and cold, etc., or touching a nail or a sharp edges.
Such as the flexion reflex initiated by painful stimulation of the skin of the foot. Receptors in the viscera, enteroceptors,
That is, belong to the internal organs, not external.
initiate enteroceptive reflexes, circulatory, respiratory, etc.
These are the things sometimes during the pranayama it changes. In fact, we saw during the Vastriya what happened in Shakti Jalini, etc. Many of these reactions will take place. That will come to later on. Just first I get the basic ideas. If we get, then I can relate to you what are the situations you are going to get into, good and bad.
Circulatory and respiratory, etc. reflexes are examples of this kind.
Circulatory and respiratory is all added. See, any respiratory reactions will definitely, by bandhas, etc., can affect all these things and create various type of reflex reactions against your control. That's why bandhas will be broken, will be thrown off from the system. You see, you've got no control over it.
Another class of receptors located in muscles, tendons, joints, and some parts of the inner ear, proprioceptors, set up proprioceptive reflexes. The knee jerk is this kind of reflex.
That is third knee jerk.
It is used to test the integrity of the nervous system.
Pardon?
You want to spell that?
Yeah.
P-R-O-P-R-I-O-C-E-P-T-O-R-S, proprioceptors.
Like more worse than Sanskrit.
No worse.
Yeah. It's all Latin side, Latin combined, you see.
Okay, we're down to now.
Yeah.
Down here.
Finish it off. What is it?
I'm down to here.
Okay, what's next one?
Properties of reflexes and nerve.
Yeah, that we have finished, then we complete. That's last thing.
Properties of reflexes and nerve contrasted. Why not we read that? Properties of reflexes and nerve contrasted. Conduction. We have already seen that the nerve impulse can be conducted in either direction along a nerve fiber.
That's only when the nerve is cut off, but not in this particular reflex arc it cannot be. But if it's severed, a nerve is severed from the things and then disconnect from the other neurons and only the axons there, then it can be done.
But in the reflex arc, conduction of impulses proceeds in one direction only.
That's important. When the nerve is disconnected, then both way the current will pass. In the electricity can be, you can connect it this side of the wire also, that side of the wire also. But now, which side the electricity is connected? The impulse is going from where? My voice is converted into electrical impulses, is going that direction. But I don't hear any. So this is receptor sending the impulse. But that, what do you call? The receiver. The speaker. The speaker. Now speaker is getting this impulse and vibrating. Huh? Pardon?
Or the TV would be like a speaker.
Yes, speaker or TV. So the impulse is going there to the ear. So that is the effector, it's changing. So this impulse is brought into that, and then eardrum is vibrating the same rhythm which I am transmitting. So it's one way, but not the other way. If he talks today through his it won't come up here. It won't come up here because that is not. So, but in the phone, how do you, or like that, even in the CB radio, how do you then transmit the same thing? And again, there are two different systems. Transmitting is done because you press the button, you are opening the impulse to go out, transmitting, and when you release it, you are trying to get it. So that same procedure he is talking about. But the wire can be used. But suppose I disconnect this wire, and then I can put this side of the wire to him, and that way, so still it will. That's what exactly it meant there. You see? Read again.
But in the reflex arc, conduction of impulses proceeds in one direction only.
In this direction.
This is due to the synapses and myoneural junctions.
Myoneural junctions we'll discuss
Which
tomorrow
which,
or this evening sometime.
Which in this respect act like one-way valves. They allow impulses to flow only in one direction previously indicated. The latent period.
Okay, that's sufficient. Just let us know. Okay, so you got the basic understanding of the reflex mechanism, which is very important to understand how it affects during your pranayama and also during your asana period. Okay, we can go. And little bit more that in the insulation neural connections are there, few things. Which I tell, that's all, I cannot just give anything beyond that. And then just discuss fast about the reflexes which take place in your, the gray matter in your brain, and especially a small 2 minutes introduction about medulla, because lots and lots of respirations and the control of the respiratory system, circulation, all taking place in that central place. It's all affected by your bandhas and so forth. These few simple things, not in an elaborate way, but just basic idea. You must know what is cerebrum, what is cerebellum, and what is medulla, and what is thymus, what is the hypothalamus, and what is pituitary, just below the hypothalamus. These are the few basic things you must know about the brain, and then you will understand the white matter, how that impulse going up and down to the brain through the white matter. And these basic things, if you understand, then you don't need anything further. Then I'll be able to, when you got to explain the pranayama and kundalini and bandhas, you'll have a clear picture of it. That's only the purpose of these instructions here, to bring some kind of modern understanding and ancient understanding, something what parallel things you can find out. So with that, we'll conclude. What's the time now? 10 to 4. So 10 minutes intermission. Come. Is the cosmic power in individual bodies. It is not a material force like electricity or magnetism. It is spiritual potential Shakti or cosmic power. In reality, there is no form. It is a coiled up sleeping divine Shakti that lies dormant in all beings. The mysterious Kundalini lies face downward at the mouth of the Sushumna Nadi. When it's awakened, it makes a hissing sound like a serpent, hence it's also called serpent power. Kundalini is the goddess of speech and praised by all. She herself, when awakened by the yogin, achieved form of the illumination. If it is she who gives liberation and knowledge for, she is herself that. She is also called Saraswati, for she is source of all knowledge and bliss. She is pure consciousness itself. She is Brahman. She is Prana Shakti, the supreme force. It is by this Shakti the world exists, creation, preservation and dissolution are in her. That's an introduction by Master about Kundalini Shakti. It is not a force, physical force, but it is that very cosmic intelligence. And when this cosmic intelligence split into different types of forces, from the minutest muscular power to the nerve energy, what we just now were discussing, the nerve impulses, to the gravitation, radiation, and so on, the power which is hidden in the atoms, everything has manifestation in different degrees, in different wavelengths. But she is not just an inert force like an atomic power. It's intelligent force. And this force is hidden in all beings, all living beings. And when she is sleeping means it's not physically that serpent sleeping, dormant, this energy. We'll have awareness only of the central world. And we only understand the nerves, physical nerves. But we'll never understand the inner working mechanism, how that nerve works, what are the things behind that brain, and why the two brains are the same. It's all grey matter and white matter. Two spinal cords are the same. It's all grey matter and white matter. We already learned now. But two people can do the same job, the same brain, same thinking, same. So there's something beyond the brain, and that's the energy. But the spinal cord represents the path to which the energy descended downward. And when she came to the last emanation of the spinal center, spinal column, she rested. That's called dormant. All the asana pranayama you are doing in the Shaktijalini we did is to awaken her dormant state and bring up to the active state. In the active state, on a purified mind, she gives liberation. Inactive state means not completely inactive, because without her action you cannot even breathe or see or think. But in her lowest, grossest manifestation, your thinking will be only very crude, understanding will be only crude, your experience will be very crude. So if you want higher experience, higher knowledge, you have to awaken her. That is called the Kundalini Yoga. Kundalini Yoga, or Lay Yoga as it is sometimes called, is the culminating meditative experience of Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga is nothing but Kundalini, Raja Yoga, it's all practical things there. Like when you are doing Shakti Jalini this morning, it's actually a practicing Kundalini Yoga, you see. It is for the advanced student who is practicing under a guru. It requires thorough knowledge of the psychic bodies and structures and of the great purification of the physical and psychic bodies. That's why every day you are doing asana, pranayama, cleanings, etc. Kundalini Shakti is primordial cosmic power and cannot be trifled with. Premature attempts to arouse it without proper preparation can cause great damage to the aspirant's mental, physical and psychic balance. The guidance and grace of a guru are absolute necessary. And all the things I give warning about, do not go too much beyond your capacity, go step by step and make your learning and practice a lifelong thing, not just like a university degree, 4 years and 5 years or 10 days correspondence course for awakening Kundalini, 10 easy lessons. Don't look into that. It's a lifelong, not only one life, several lives you will take. Because once she is awakened, you get all the knowledge and power. Nothing which you cannot then obtain in your life. You see. It's all her power. In Kundalini meditation, the divine power that lies dormant in every human being is aroused and pulled upward to the chakras, the psychic centers of the body. The top of the head, the seat of the highest consciousness, The union of the individual and absolute consciousness takes place. In other yogas like Jnana Yoga, it's also, don't call it Kundalini Yoga, there also absolute awareness takes place because there is no duality. So when the Shiva and Shakti united in the Sahasrara, there is no duality. But any other lower center there is duality. So withdrawing all that energy backward, and that's called Kundalini Yoga. This is expressed symbolically as the union of Shakti with the Lord Shiva. Kundalini Shakti. The equilibrium of the universe is maintained by a polarity of positive and negative, male and female, the static and the dynamic. In everything, these two forces you will see. That's what in Purusha and Prakriti, in Raja Yoga, Brahman and Maya, in Jnana Yoga, Shiva and Shakti, in the Tantric Yoga, and Krishna, Radha, Rama, Sita, etc. in the Bhakti Yoga, and Nada and Bindu in Mantra Yoga. Nada is the sound, which is Shakti. Bindu is the Shiva. So you will see everywhere this positive, negative. There is nothing you can have in this universe without this. If one is missing, the other will be missing. It doesn't matter what it is. You can't have one without the other. In any state, in higher state or in the lower state, even in this state, Shiva and Shakti must be there to have some existence of this. So this very existence is depending on Shiva. It doesn't matter what form, and that form and name, qualities, changing nature, is belongs to Shakti. So Shiva, Shakti, or this Nada, Bindu, these two forces exist in all. Whatever exists in this universe, the macrocosm exists also in man, the microcosm. Masculine passive ground force, Shiva, resides in the Sahasrara, the seventh chakra, located in the crown of the head. Shakti, the feminine active power, lies coiled at the base of the spine. So in the beginning, you can see even the physiology you learned, before even the Sahasrara came into, and the development, all the thinking principles started coming because of the brain. Primitive man and the primitive creatures only use the lower brain. Spinal cord is the lowest brain. It is a brain. All the basic reflexes are all you learn now. That shows in the scale of evolution, the lower centers are more active, and then later on only even the Sahasrara, the brain itself came only very later stage of the evolution. In our experience, then we reverse this whole process backward. The masculine passive ground force, Shiva, resides the Sahasrara in seventh chakra, located in the crown of the head. Shakti, the feminine active power, lies coiled at the base of the spine. It is the manifestation of cosmic power in the body and is in dormant, potential state. Not a material force, it is a pristine psychic and spiritual power that underlies all organic and inorganic matter. Because of its spiral-like upward motion, when awakened, is referred to as a serpent power and is depicted hypnographically as a serpent coiled in the base of the spine. The arousal of Kundalini leads to union with Lord Shiva, state of superconsciousness and spiritual enlightenment. This is called true Tantra Yoga. Many people interpret this Tantra Yoga as a female-male relationship in the physical body. There is nothing physical involved. It is the highest. That energy must be sublimated. Shakti force, the creative force which moves out, must be transmitted and brought up. That's what all the bandhas is doing. When I do Muladhara bandha and all the striking, etc., you are sublimating the energy backward because it's always going downward. This downward process must be stopped. And the various methods are there. If you have intense devotion or mantra japa or any of the techniques you are using, all will help you. But a combined process like simple yoga will help you better than any one particular yoga. Hatha yoga awakens the Kundalini by disciplining the body, purifying the nadis to pranayama, the astral channel through which flows the prana, and controlling the prana. All the physical nerves, what we discuss about, has got a counterpart in the astral body. Because the astral nerves exist, that's the physical nerve. If there are any reactions in the astral will affect the physical, so also any reaction, the physical nerves will affect your astral flow. So both are interrelated. Through the physical posture of Hatha Yoga, the nervous system is toned, enabling it to withstand the experience of the rising energy. Otherwise, you will not be able to get the high voltage. It regulates the flow of prana by means of body locks and seals, mudras, known as mudra and bandhas, kriyas, etc. Special cleaning techniques purify the inner organs of the physical body, and breath control steadies the mind. Vigorous pranayama, asana and meditation are not enough. However, mental purification requires selfless service for seeing and serving the Supreme in all beings, essential for any spiritual progress. That's called Karma Yoga. We'll come to that at the end. Kundalini and her channels for movement are not to be found in the physical body, but every portion of the physical body has a counterpart in the astral body. So what you just read about, the grey matter, white matter, these are all have the physical counterpart, the astral. Sushumna has got also Ida Vajram, Ida Pingala Vajram, Vajranadi, and Brahmarandhra, spinal canal. All these are there in Sanskrit, and these are all, though explanation is given in Indian terms, Sanskrit terms, they are not talking about the physical. They are talking about the astral content of the physical. So in the spinal cord, there is a canal, it is called Brahmanadi, and energy still, of course, I studied so much to find out what the purpose of the spinal cord, the spinal canal, and there is no proper explanation by the person inside, they do not know. So also there are special small glands, one of the important glands, the pineal gland in the brain. Again, its function is not known at all. It's the counterpart, it creates the psychic phenomena like the clairvoyance, clairaudience, etc., activating of this energy in that particular area of that. So the navel chakra, Manipura chakra, there is certain reactions. By concentrating, you can get it, which will be very beneficial, or if not in the right way, it can be wrong benefits, you can get it. So these are the astral counterpart we are talking, though it is the physical, it has got the physical counterpart exists in the physical sheath. And the physical body dies, brain and all the matter, even the nerve, disconnected nerve or removed away from the main nerve will disintegrate soon. It cannot carry on. The brain can only function, certain portion of the brain can function longer, which you learn soon when you come to the brain. Like within 5 minutes, if there is no oxygen, the main portion of the cerebrum, etc., will die, but some of the lower portion of the brain can stay longer, and spinal cord still longer can stay without oxygen. So the different types of nerves, it's got different capacities, but the highest developed brain can only withstand 5 minutes, but spinal cord can stay for up to 8 to 10 hours without oxygen. These are some of the facts relating to your physical system and astral system. That the consciousness not in the physical brain, it only relates that energy and codifies it in an ordinary human energy and language. Every portion of the physical body has the counterpart in the astral body, and both bodies are interdependent on the material plane. The 7 psychic centers of chakras and the Sushumna Nadi, the passage through which the Kundalini rises, are in the astral body and correspond to nerve plexus and the spinal cord. You can see a small diagram there in the next page. See how that you can see the counterpart in physical and astral counterpart. The whole thing is spinal cord. In Sanskrit, the counterpart is Sushumna Nadi. The central canal is called Brahma Nadi or Sushumna canal, the Brahmarandhra, then spinal ganglion, and the spinal ganglion is where the Ida and Pingala comes, and also the white matter, this through which the energy goes up and down to the brain and comes back down, and the ganglions are the other 14 major minor nadis are there, apart from Ida, Pingala, Sushumna. Yogis point out there are 14 major nadis are Hasta, Jihva, so forth, and there are 72,000 minor nadis are there. And so many of these corresponding to the physical nervous system, because it's all projected because of the astral nerves and the prana flow. According to yoga theory, there are approximately 72,000 nadis or astral nerve tubes. The most important, which is the sushumna, the astral body's counterpart to the spinal cord. On either side of it are two nadis known as ida and pingala, which correspond to the left and right sympathetic cords in the physical prana. Prana, vital energy, flows through them as long as it is so man is engaged in worldly activities and bound by time, space and causation. Or when the sushumna operates, he is beyond such limitation. While Western anatomy represents only the gross form of functions of the Kundalini acts on subtle level, the aspirant therefore must have thorough knowledge of the major nadi. Sushumna nadi extends from the Mooladhara chakra, the second vertebra of the coccygeal region, to the Brahmarandra in the crown of the head. We'll just see a little bit more when you go to the nervous system and the brain, we get more physiological understanding of this. The physical spinal cord is made up of grey and white brain matter and suspended within the spinal column. Within this cord is the central canal called the anatomy. The canalis centralis. The sushumna located within this spinal canal has several subdivisions. Within this fiery red sushumna is another nadi called Vajra, lustrous as the sun, which in turn contains another chakra chitra, is pale in color. This is all the anatomy of this sushumna. And it's not physical, it's all made up of energy. So it has got like lightning, it's got colors, it's got energy, strength and so forth. The physical spinal cord is only made of physical gross matter, but that exists and is able to function. All this reflex mechanism, etc. That's the intelligence of the Kundalini, which manifests through that particular area. So it's all psychic energies, nothing physical there. But the physical matter is there, just like I need a hand to lift. So also, these physical chakras and nerve system are necessary only for physical experiences, but yogi can transcend these physical chakras and physical plexus also. Inside the chitra is a very fine minute canal known as Brahmanadi. When the Kundalini is awakened, it passes through this canal from the Mooladhara chakra to Sahasrara. Again, it is just like you saw how the neuron impulse has been transferred from one neuron to another until it reaches the sensory, to the motor nerves, or the efferent nerves to the organs, and then when you do certain control, like the physical control of the breath and bandhas, etc., you are consciously blocking both physical and the flow of astral prana from various centers. These are the things we will discuss as soon as we get some of the basic ideas of what chakras and plexus, interrelation between physical plexus and astral chakras. This obstruction is penetrated as the Kundalini is within it a lower. The Chitranadi is the most vital part of the body and is sometimes referred to as the heavenly way. Within it, as the lower extremity, is the beginning of the Sushumna, which is called the Brahma Granthi or knot of Brahma. The obstruction is penetrated as the Kundalini is aroused and passes upward toward the Nadi's termination point in the cerebellum. That's the highest place. Cerebellum, that's the highest, Sahasrara. Chakras. The 6 chakras are way stations along the Sushumna, the final destination of the Sahasrara chakra. There are consciousness with specific tones of awareness and bliss as a storage of places for the subtle vital energy. That's why all these functions, reflex functions, can be done. As I explained that as you are walking, you are not conscious of it, suddenly you step on a nail and your right leg cannot anymore take the weight. And so not only the reflex action came to the right leg to pull away from that painful condition, but also immediately the conscious, intelligent action went to the left leg. Left leg was supposed to relax at that time because the right leg was supposed to go forward and take that. And so the automatic function and reflexive function was going on, but the left function immediately, the intelligent force, so intelligent it is, though the right leg, immediately the right leg cannot do the function, So I must take the action, take the responsibility of my right leg, though it is not my time, though my time is to relax during the particular moment, but I am going to just contract and hold that position until the right leg is okay. That's called intelligence. So intelligence also there in the sushumna, in your spinal cord, and the yogis know that. And as higher up the spinal cord, you get a different types of experiences too. And the spinal cord is not as sensitive as the brain, but still it cannot function. It can function if it's completely severed, the reflex action won't be complete. So there is reflex action is going on, but when it's severed from the main brain, sometimes you cannot restore immediately. We'll discuss that also when you come to the brain cerebellum. The location of chakra and the corresponding centers in the physical body are Mooladhara at the lower end of the spinal column corresponding to sacral plexus, Swadhisthana, the region of the genital organs corresponding to the prostatic plexus, Manipura at the navel corresponding to the solar plexus, Anahata at the heart of the corresponding to the cardiac plexus, Vishuddha in the throat region corresponding to the laryngeal plexus, Ajna between the eyebrows, Tribhuda corresponding to the cavernous plexus, Sahasrara at the crown of the head corresponding to the pineal gland. During meditation, each chakra is visualized as a lotus with a certain number of petals. The Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha and Ajna chakra have 4, 6, 10, 12, 16 and 2 petals respectively. That means what? All the varnas which you learn are there. That's called varna. We will be coming to that. While the Sahasrara has 1000 means infinite. The number of petals determined by the number of position of the nadis are the energy which emanates from the chakra and give appearance of a lotus. Hanging downward when the kundalini is dormant, the nadi turns upward with its substance. That means it becomes active. Dormant means hanging downward means it's inactive. As soon as the prana comes to the chakra becomes active, alive. Associated with each petal is one of the 50 Sanskrit letters representing the vibration produced on it by the kundalini as it passes through the chakra. The sound you already know that how it produces, so that human sound, what we create, a, e, ka, ka, gha, ga, nga, is only, it is the vibration wavelength, and that's why languages come out. It's not languages just be created. It is a Kundalini Shakti now manifest in the external world as a way of to communicate. That highest nada, highest sound is brought into a kind of human vibration. So that all the 50 alphabet you will see in the chakras. This sound exists in latent form and manifest as vibration of the nadi can be felt during concentration. Besides petals and sound vibrations, each chakra has its own geometrical form, representing specific power, as well as own color, function, element, presiding deity, and bija or mystic vibration. There are various methods of locating the chakras, all of which may be approached from the front as well as the back. You can go through the dorsal or ventral. When attempting to locate the chakra from the back, one moves his concentration directly upward along the spinal cord from chakra to chakra. To approach from the front, one moves from the base of the spine up to the navel, the heart and the throat. At all times, the consciousness is kept internalized and receptive to experiencing the inner vibration, indicating an energy center. In all exercises, a comfortable meditative posture should be assumed. A straight spine is essential. Chakras may be focused upon by chanting Om, the all-inclusive universal sound, vibration, in different pitches. Fixing the concentration on the Mooladhara chakra, the same taking exactly used in any other yoga, concentration used in Jnana yogis or Bhakti yogis or Raja yogis, Chitta-Vritti Nirodha, the same method is used. It doesn't matter. The only thing is object of meditation is no more. Krishna is object of meditation is chakra and Shakti, that's all. So the Chitta-Vritti Nirodha, here it is. We are focusing only on one vritti. In Mantra Yoga, you are focusing only on one sound. Here you are focusing only on one chakra with these specific powers. Another method utilize the Indian musical state to locate the psychic centers Is definitely a relation between the scale and the principal chakra, that is Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Dha, Ni, Sa, we just yesterday, or Da, what is that in Western? And each one is a different wavelength. There are 6 wavelengths, and the 6th scale is representing, each scale representing a chakra. So Sa corresponds to Muladhara, Re, that is the 7th scale. When the Kundalini is awakened, it does not proceed directly to Sahasrara unless one is exceptionally pure yogi. It must be moved up from one chakra to another, and a great deal of concentration and patience is required. It may drop back and have to be raised again with great effort. When the Kundalini is raised to the Ajna chakra, it is difficult to keep it there. Only a great yogi, Ramakrishna, Aurobindo and Swami Shivananda, were able to keep it for any length of time. The Kundalini finally rises from Ajna to Sahasrara, union takes place. But even here it does not may remain long. Only after lengthy and continuous practice does the evolved and purified adapt experiences permanent and union and final liberation. The speed at which the Kundalini is aroused depends upon the aspirant's purity, stage of evolution from the past life, dispassion and purification of the psychic nerves and vital sheath, and yearning for liberation. In due time, nature awakens the power and gives the student knowledge as he is ready. Until he is able to absorb it totally, nothing of deep importance is revealed to him in the beginning. So do not expect everything to come immediately. There are numerous other exercises, both physical and breathing, to facilitate chakra meditation. You cannot resist, so that this kind of meditation must be done under the guidance of Guru, and then only after many forms of purification and preparation. No teacher, however, can give the student the power of necessary self-discipline. It's up to you. Now just look back into the next chakra. You can see the spinal cord or Sushumna. Now read the Sanskrit letter. Muladhara. Lam. That is the Bija Mantra of the earth. And Bija Mantra of the earth is Lam. Its color is yellow. Well, it's no color here, but it's yellow color. Square is the geometrical figure. And there are 4 energies there. This energy, in the inner ear, it will appear to be the Sham, Sham, Sam, Vam. That is the end of your consonants. Ka, Ka, Ga, Nga, Nga, Cha, Cha, Ja, Nja, Nya, Ta, Tha, Da, Da, Na, Ta, Tha, Da, Tha, Na, Pa, Pha, Ba, Pha, Ma, Ya, Ra, La, Va. Then come Sha, Sha, Sa, Vam. So Sham, Sham, Sam, Vam. These are the first 4 alphabets and 4 petals represent. That means energy centers. Next is the Swadhisthana. Vam is a water syllable, and it has got 6 petals. It's the 4th energy. And here is the. But let us see if you go the other way around, you get all the alphabet properly. Go to the Vishuddha chakra on the page 95. With the 16 petals that the Vishuddha throat. You read it out, please. A, E. But here is Am, Im, Rum, Ilrum, Aim, Om, A. So all the 16 vowels, that's called 16 petals. That's energy of this particular vibration. What you call the vowels, it is not physical vowel, it is the actual energy of the Shakti. And then we use that energy of the Shakti, that vibration, so we can communicate in the ordinary physical language. Then comes the next one, the heart center. You see the double triangle like Star of David. And Star of David is double triangle, it goes up and down in the page 94. And Yam is the Bija Mantra. Yam represents the Vayu, the gas. And now you see the alphabets. What are the alphabets starting? Gum, Kham, Gum, Ngham, Ngam, Cham, Cham, Jam, Njam, Nyam, then Tam, then will go of the Tam, Thum. Next is the further continuation. The Ram, that's 93, that's the Bija Mantra of the fire, Ram, the symbol triangle. And there is Tam, you finish. Next after Tam, Ta, ta, next is the da. You see, dam, ndam, nam, then tam, tham, dam, ndam, nam, pam. And then comes Swadhisthana. You see from the pam, then comes to the pam, pam. Then the bum, mbam, mum, yam, ram, lam. And then, just see that next one. That's Muladhara, 4 petals. Vam, sham, sham, sam. And then what happened to the ha and the, just go back to the 96th page, you see the Ajna Chakra. What do you see there? Hum and sham. Okay. So, all the alphabet means, it's not alphabet, it's varnas, it's called wavelengths. And these inner wavelengths, just like yesterday explained, if you are going to play something, the music is where? It is in the form of sound. So any poetry, any poem, anything you do, playing tabla or whatever music or writing poetry, but we use different type of instruments to project this inner sound. Sometimes vocal cords, sometimes typing, sometimes writing, sometimes tabla, sometimes instrument, sometimes mathematics formula. We convert that energy into mathematical formula, and sometimes we just use it also for experiments and so forth. But doesn't matter what it is all that sound, original sound. And when that original sound is corrupted and split into, it becomes 50 sounds. And that's called varna. That's called the 50 sound. That 50 sounds means, it's not we are talking the physical Sanskrit alphabets. That wavelengths are there, each of the chakra vibrates is specific. And then even if you forget all the languages in this world, and we go to a new place and still we will create language, because language is in this. And then, so only spoken language will be different, because we see that telepathically, as you heard already yesterday, Para Pashanti, all the languages we repeat in this way. Doesn't matter where we are born, what language. And then later on, according to present condition, we change that sound to codify so others will understand as it is, what original sound is created there. These are the 50 Sanskrit alphabet represent the meditation of chakra. And rest of the things you already know, everything about it, how to use the Chitta-Vritti Nirodha, how to control the mind, how to meditate, how to focus it, all the techniques you already use that one. Now comes the electronic meditation. What do you mean, laugh? Electronic meditation. Page 199. I gave this word electronic meditation. There's no other book anywhere about electronic meditation. I just coined this word. So don't just look for any book. The body is internally associated with the mind, rather than the body is a counterpart. Rather, the body is the counterpart of the mind. It is a gross visible form of the subtle invisible mind. Every change in thought makes a vibration in your mental body, and this, when transmitted to the physical body, causes activities in the nervous matter of your brain. This activity in the nervous cells causes many electrical and chemical changes in them. This thought activity which causes these changes when the mind is turned into particular thought and dwells on it. A definite vibration of matter is set up, and often more of this vibration is caused. The more does it tend to repeat itself, it becomes more a habit to become automatic. The body follows the mind and imitates its changes. This you already know about this, no interpretation necessary. The last 15 years, with the advent of finer electronic technology, principal circuits, printed circuits, solid-state circuitry, and so on, has come a new and increasingly popular phenomenon known as biofeedback. The early days of this history, it was pretty much confined to the research laboratories of various medical and psychological institutes. Now, because of advance in electronics and simple, expensive biofeedback monitor can be purchased by anyone. The machines have become more and more familiar ever since their thrust into the popularity stream of the 1960s. Okay, don't worry about research. Now, what is the It has been used to learn how to control an array of disorders such as headaches, high blood pressure, and poor circulation. This all belongs to the autonomic nervous system. through the use of instrument which records the body's minute electrical signals and feeds them back in amplified form through a tone or some visual indicator on the machine, is possible to be aware of certain changes in the internal body process, to act on them and change the signal. High tone indicates considerable tension, lower tone more relaxation. The aim is to reduce the tone by relaxing. As you listen to signal and try to relax by giving a self-positive suggestion, you learn to connect the feeling of being and relaxed to corresponding tone. Feeling internal changes as they occur is the key to biofeedback. It's important to note that here that these machines are used for the purpose of learning relaxation technique, and in no way can they propel one into higher state of consciousness, nor will awaken the kundalini or purify your nadis or bring with samadhi. It gives you relaxation. That's what the purpose of these things. And the brain waves can be changed, brain pattern can be changed, and you get a relaxed state of mind. It's a basic step. Maybe people cannot meditate with Krishna, Rama and Chitta Vritti Nirodham. They can start with that. It will give some kind of stimulation for them to at least investigate further later on as they improve, to go deeper into that. So without proper yama, niyama, asana, pranayama and right diet, etc., you cannot attain any higher consciousness, nor the kundalini can be awakened. These are all just only physical manifestation of the brain. The brain can enter into different states, but that is because the relaxation condition, the metabolic conditions of the body. So whenever you do any biofeedback meditation, the breathing pattern, the respiration all will slow down, but this will not remove the mental oscillations. Your body can enter into a state between mudha, that is chitta, vikshita, mudha, nirdha. Between the mudha and little ekagrata. These are two things, a mixture of these two things you get it, so you feel more comfortable. And so don't confuse that with meditation of the samadhi at all. Alpha state is not a samadhi state, it is just a brainwave pattern. Then you can read about what is called biofeedback, but what I want to just tell you is only the brain-based pattern. Just open the page 202, please. In the biofeedback, two types of instruments are being used. One is the GSR, galvanic skin resistance, and that will give you a type of color or tone which you can concentrate and bring it down. Or EEG, electroencephalograph, that's to test the brain wave, brain cycle, the energy, output of energy thrown out by the brain activity. Because every cell is in active state, throws certain amount of energy in the form of heat, electricity, radiation, and that's the nature of all living things. So the brain in its activity and inactivity or semi-activity like the dream, etc., emit certain type of energy, electrical impulses, and this can be measured by using a machine that's called EEG. And what you call then, it's not a mind control, we are talking about how the brain waves, brain pattern is changing because of relaxed state of mind or the body mechanism or the slow function of the prana. When you relax, etc., the pranic vibration changes, the breath pattern changes. This will put oxygen deficiency comes because you don't need too much oxygen. A kind of partial hibernation, artificial hibernation takes place, as I mentioned before. So the body doesn't need too much oxygen, so breathing becomes slow. Because the breathing is slow, other activities of the body slows down, and oxidation of the carbohydrate metabolism and protein and fat all slows down. And because of the brain activities become very, very low, it's called low metabolic activity. It's not a very advanced state, but it will give you some strength for the beginners, but that itself is not any meditation or having any spiritual value. It will help you. But this is the thing you must know about it. Almost equally as popular as the GSR is the EEG 202, page 202. Electroencephalograph. EEG, rather than measuring the activities of the body's nervous system, actually measures the electrical output of the brain by means of electrodes placed on the skin around the region of the skull. Sensors do not deliver any electrical charge, but are receivers only. Every brain emits wave of energy, much like radio waves, of which the length and amplitude can be measured. A wavelength in excess of 13 cycles per second corresponds to a normal waking state, and it's called the beta state. So what is the beta state? The brain is very active, and so output of brain energy is tremendous. And that cycle, when it is connected to a machine to measure what is the output energy coming from the brain, and it shows anywhere from 13 cycles and more. So anything above 13 cycles, the brain is very active. That's called waking state, called beta. They name it called beta. And anything below that, that become alpha. That means brain pattern is not putting too much energy when you're relaxing or meditating or looking at a sunset or sunrise. Then brain activity slows down. So also metabolic activities, as I mentioned in your course. As the metabolic activity slows down, the brain pattern slows, and so brain waves also come to from 13 to below, and that's called alpha state. So from the beta 13 cycle per second, the oscillation is changed into 7.5 cycle to 13 cycle is the alpha state, indicating the mind is extremely relaxed or contemplative. So whenever anyone who is contemplative or mood or relaxing, even a beginner, you easily get into alpha state. But they focus, and to bring their vrittis, they focus on the sound coming from the machine or the light clicking, and this way they concentrate and slowly they down their mental vrittis and relax their body. Just like an example gave yesterday, when the mother wants to put the baby into sleep, she sings lullaby and slowly rocks the baby, and the baby slowly go into delta state. The brain wave stops there. It's not meditating, but delta, that's further down. So that's what coming up now. So from the alpha state, in contemplative mood or relaxed mood, that is between 7.5 cycle to 13 per cycle is the alpha state, indicating the mind is extremely relaxed for contemplative. Next is the delta state, that's between 3.5 cycle to 7.5 cycle, is as much deeper state. The same thing, it's alpha state, but little deeper, that's all, because brain activity is much slowed down. It doesn't, a breathing pattern is much slower, where little oxygen necessary. So the delta state and the alpha state is almost same, except in degree of brain function. It is a state at which much creative thought takes place. There is still a good deal to be learned about the state as well as about the theta state. That is the theta is the bottom, at 0.5 cycle to 3.5 cycle, a state of deep sleep where there is no physical awareness. So that's the last state. Now look at the chart, you will understand measurement of brain waves, cycles per second. Yeah, that's a mistake was there, but they don't correct it. It must be. No, in this book, the latest, which one you are having, old one or new edition or late old? New. But new edition. No, beta, alpha, theta, and delta. Or theta. Yeah. The theta should be the down. So this should be.
Theta is the lowest one?
No, theta is the second stage. Here it is delta, theta, alpha, beta, is it not?
Right. But in the print up above it has it reversed.
In the print above it has it the other way around, that
theta is the lowest.
Yeah, maybe that's not the printing mistake. But you will see in the chart, you look at it, you'll see the exact cycle clearly given. Look at the chart, please. First you go to see 0 to 28 cycles. The first 0 to 2 is the first, that's called delta state. 0.5 cycle to 3.5 cycle, that's it's got deep sleep. And then between 3 and 7 is the theta, and between 7.5 to 13 is alpha. From beyond 13, 14 to 28, above 13 is called beta, normal waking state. So that chart is right, though that sometimes the printing is wrong there. The measurement of the brain waves, you can see while this varies, and also in each state there's amplitude, not only wavelength cycles per second, but also depending on alpha state. Two people have alpha cycle, maybe they're all only having 8 or 10 cycles. They're all in alpha state. But once amplitude is very high, that means more power is there in his concentration. So amplitude is also important. Amplitude can be seen by looking at this next chart. You see that the height of the waves. First of all, take the count that number of waves in the higher waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's alpha. But also look at the amplitude, the inner line, which is smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now, amplitude, that is called amplitude. That's how high it goes and how low it goes. Both sides, you see. And the amplitude as well as if you have a proper machine, EEG as well as GSR, amplitude also is very important to get the real conditions. Not merely cycle is not sufficient number of wavelengths, but also the amplitude, the energy output. That in amplitude means the brain is in a very strong state to send powerful energy. While these various states are based on cycle per second or length of brain wave, the magnitude of the energy output can also be measured. A reading of 30 to 40 microvolts is common for experienced meditators, and advanced yogi have recorded mental output is excess to 100 microvolts as built in the alpha state. So that's called output of energy, that's called amplitude. Brain waves can have an amplitude no matter what the wavelengths are the brain state are. There will be amplitude in each state. Even delta state, there will be amplitude. Theta state, there will be amplitude. Alpha and beta in each state. Doesn't matter what the cycles are. Beyond relaxation. 204. Self-awareness is the consciousness or knowledge of one's condition or state of being and of changes that occur in the body, mind and environment. Because the biofeedback machine translates the changes that occur in the body into forms that can be seen or heard through a sound or a light, the subject can increase his self-awareness as a byproduct of the use of biofeedback machine, at least up to a certain point. A trained and alert yogi is completely aware of the various subconscious processes which take place in his mind and body and is able to control his autonomic nervous system through the power of concentration. The average person cannot do this because he lacks the necessary physical and mental training and discipline. Now next. The last paragraph in the same 204. In biofeedback, electronic instruments are used for getting results from the subconscious, but uses are limited. For example, if a person connected to a GSR machine for reading skin resistance is touched, a large change will occur in the instrument readout. In fact, a substantial reaction can be produced nearly by bringing one's hand slowly toward the person. The GSR takes its reading directly from the activity of the sweat glands. Themselves are under the control of the sympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is that subdivision of the autonomic nervous system, sometimes called fight or flight mechanism. In times of great amount of activity, it increases the heart rate, supply of blood to the brain, increases oxygen intake and pumps adrenaline into the blood. The nervous system carries information to all internal organs and tissues as was we know, not just the glands alone. If a person becomes excited in any way, his sympathetic nervous system activates physical and chemical changes throughout the body. And then finally, last paragraph. 208 page. Supernormal phenomena takes place naturally when owing to innate faculties or abilities developed through the proper training on functions simultaneously on two planes, physical and the astral. The external study of these phenomena along lines of ordinary sense can only lead to limited results. Traditional science has been constantly closer examination and analysis of the phenomena of the senses and sensations. As a result of this analysis, laws are framed and made to agree with the activities of man's thoughts. So all the laws, we just put it so that it will suit your particular hypothesis. Human science studies the surface of our sensible world, the surface on which our thought reflects itself. Yogic science studies that world which is at the center of life, and bring the union between the external and the internal world. It studies the inner thought, working from inner planes towards planes near the center, getting closer and closer, the reality from which all life emanates. Yogic science is not a matter of erudition, its roots lie in action. It must live to learn on oneself and not in others. This process is not thought. The truth initially, the autonomous is replaced by direct perception of the intuitive knowledge of the higher plane. Conditioned learning is but a mechanical means to help concentrate the mind. A technique used in biofeedback may help to one to recognize some facts about the mind control, but you must not be deluded by the mechanics of our contemporary society. Machines cannot replace experience. Meditation and mind control are experiential. I am is not just a biofeedback experience. A child can use a calculator to solve all his arithmetic homework, but he will not learn to add. Biofeedback machines will give rough quantitative feedback of one's initial efforts to control the mind, but one can learn meditation only by practice of attunement to the inner self, not the machine or an object. You must transcend all objects. Okay, and this is the objects of meditation. You can all read it by yourself. And that ends the little bit of electronic meditation. Now comes the Karma Yoga, the last and the most difficult yoga. The most difficult yoga. Okay, give me sadhana, please.
Service is essential. Karma Yoga Sadhana. Service is essential. You must completely engross yourself and saturate yourself in service. It is no use sitting in a closed room or on the bank of the Ganges and meditating for hours together.
See, here Master Shivananda says, merely closing and staying in a solitary place in the cave for hours and hours, closing your eyes is not meditation, not bring you any spiritual awakening. You can enter into a nice, deep, Tirtha state.
How long can you meditate? Ask yourself.
Yes. Even if you go to Himalayan cave, how long you can sit? I have seen people there last year. I can only meditate for 3-4 hours. The rest of the time I have to do something else. It's not just merely closing the eyes.
Stay for half an hour or an hour at the most. Then your mind will begin to wander. Innumerable thoughts will crop up. You will begin to imagine so many useless things and start moving particles in the air. You will not be able to concentrate on thoughts.
Because Vritti is not able to bring it down. So for a few hours, half an hour, 15 minutes, you can bring the Kshipta state into Vikshipta state. Then mind gets tired because there's no purification, no energy, no strength. So it goes into dull state, into Mudha state.
What is the reason for this? Because of your bad samskaras, because you have no serenity and the mind is always ruffled by the worldly thoughts, and because you have not purified your heart by selfless service. You can purge out your bad samskaras only through intense selfless service.
Service is the most important thing to purify. So along with the service, if you do asana, pranayama, and all this exercise I taught, and with the yama niyama, then you will have inner awakening. Mere practicing any one yoga, forgetting even the service and so forth, then you can awaken your kundalini by merely Shakti Chalini, and that will bring you tremendous disaster to you, because your physical and mental system will not be able to take that particular type of energy without purification.
You can purge out your bad samskaras only through intense selfless service. Then peace and serenity will come and you will have perfect, vigorous meditation. I have heard of so many aspirants complaining that they are not able to do sufficient japa, meditation, etc. because they are always engaged in service.
See, this is what all ashrams staff complain even when Master was alive, oh, we got all the time, we had to work. We got no time to meditate, do my pranayama and Shakti Jalini, always complain. So master is quoting that,
Well, I would ask him to go to some solitary place and shut himself in a room for a day or two and just see how long they can meditate.
So master says, if anyone says they don't have the time to meditate and they are always engaged, ask them just for 2 days, anyone wants just lost yours of Dattatrayananji and just try to meditate 2 days. What happens, you can find it.
It is impossible for a neophyte to meditate 24 hours a day. The mind wants something to be engaged in. Have you seen any person...
Just like, suppose you have to do 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours meditation. How many will be dead and finished? Just though there's nothing there to do, only you have to close your eyes and sit quietly. Which is more difficult? To hear my lecture, boring lecture with all these things of heat and so forth, and or the effortlessly just sitting down, which is easier? So you can sit for hours and hours, but the moment you just, okay, we are just going to sit for 13 hours meditation, finished, there will be end of it. Within 15 minutes you will collapse. So that is more power necessary to do that than this type of work, you see.
Have you seen any person meditating on the Ganges bank? Watch him for some time. You will perhaps be able to meditate quietly for an hour at the most. Then you will see him playing with the pebbles or engaged with similar silly things.
Yeah, that's what people who think yogis in the Himalayas will be meditating all the time. That's what you think. He will meditate for half an hour, 45 minutes. But his mind also, because in the Himalayas, that doesn't mean his mind will change into anything better. If that's all necessary, then we can all go to Himalayan cave. We all will be great yogis, is it not? So it is nothing. He also just do the same stupid thing. He will just throw the pebble because nothing else to do. Because he doesn't know what to do with his mind. The mind is in a very mudha, dull state, you see.
That is why I say that service is very essential in the beginning. Because the mind wants variety.
Science, service is the thing. And service you can get all types of way to cope up with your mindful modification. We have in fact last 13 hours, did you ever think of ice cream or banana? Your mind is really focused. You are so much concentrated. So this is the way. Anything you do in a positive way to bring the mind, that's all meditation. Not meditation, just merely sitting and closing. Anywhere you can focus the mind and steady the mind and steady the vritti in a positive way, that's all will help you in meditation. Service, when you serve your humanity, serve a sick person, attending him, his needs, you are focusing, you are concentrating, you feel the heart. Then the Kundalini meditation automatically starts to develop.
Will bestow upon you everything. Through service alone, you can have realization.
Mere karma yoga is really, of course, master is not just telling me, but karma yoga itself can bring you have liberation, because mind purifies. A purified mind identifies with Purusha. See, you already know Raja Yoga, is it not?
Side by side, you must also carry on your japa, meditation, and other preliminary sadhanas.
That means during one karma yoga, you can repeat your mantra and pranayama, etc. Also a little bit breathing, deep breathing. This all will help you. It's not karma yoga, physical work alone.
The synthetic practice alone will give you perfection. Truly speaking, this is the best ground for spiritual practices to all aspirants, because here you have a beautiful blend of all the sadhanas, very attractive, practicable, and suitable even to the most modern mind.
Okay. Oh, Shanti, you continue this evening. We are finished. Okay. That will give little bit more understanding the purpose of the pranayama and concentration. You will understand little bit to get some relationship between your physiology and your psychic system. Yesterday we discussed about the properties of the various types of reflexes. We already discussed. Now, metabolic effects on your nervous system. Lack of oxygen and metabolic accumulation of metabolic byproducts can all create certain reactions. And just a fast outlook on that, how the pranayama can help you in this process. Metabolic effects. Central nervous tissues has a much higher rate of metabolism than nerve. This is in all probability due to the greater requirements of nutrients and oxygen and fast turnover of materials in the cell bodies and synaptic regions. The central nervous system, your brain, the spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system, the reactions will be different. Lack of oxygen, etc. We'll see that what are the reactions, and which the higher the system, the more evolves, then some of the cells of the neurons cannot stay more than 5 minutes, but others can stay for 30 to 40 minutes and so forth. So that's what we are going to discuss now here. As evidence for this, it is known that the gray matter has a higher metabolic rates, greater oxygen consumption, and larger blood supply than white matter. The first reaction is, from this it is known that the gray matter has a higher metabolic rate, greater oxygen and consumption, and larger blood supply than the white matter. The reflex actions, the efferent and afferent actions taking place, the neurons send them impulses, is done through the gray matter of your spinal cord. On this basis, it is understandable that reflexes fatigue more quickly, succumb to asphyxia or lack of oxygen or anesthetic and other drugs than nerve fibers do. So the reflex mechanism is easily paralyzed or get into fatigue if there is lack of oxygen. The higher the metabolic rate in general, the greater the tendency to fatigue. After a comparatively small number of repeated stimuli, a reflex response may temporarily be completely fatigued, stopping the blood flow to parts of the central nervous system, thus depriving them of oxygen, kill them rather rapidly. The highest level of brain, the cerebral cortex, which we'll be discussing soon, cerebellar cortex, will never regain their functions if deprived of blood for more than 5 minutes. So the highest center of your nervous system, central nervous system, within 5 minutes they will not regain their consciousness. Permanent death will take place to them. So the highest level of the brain, the cerebral cortex and cerebellar cortex, will never regain their functions if deprived of blood for more than 5 minutes. Lower centers of the brain may withstand as much as 30 minutes of asphyxia, and the spinal cord about 60 minutes work. So the spinal cord and lower brain can take up to 30 minutes, but not the cerebellum and cerebrum. The peripheral nerve may recover after several hours of asphyxiation. The ability to withstand oxygen lack would thus vary inversely with the metabolic rate. Anesthesia abolishes reflexes rather rapidly. On the other hand, in an animal killed by an overdose of anesthetic, nerves are still able to conduct impulses in a fairly normal fashion. So the site in the central nervous system more quickly attacked by fatigue, asphyxia, etc. is the synapse or cell body of the neurons. Synapse is the connection, and then are the cell body itself. In the peripheral neuromuscular apparatus, the myoneural junction most readily succumbs to adverse conditions. So this is very important to note about how your brain functions or dies in the absence of lack of oxygen. So there's correlation between the mind, your brain, and the breathing. From this point of view, your lower centers can take, cells can, without oxygen they can survive, but not the highest, your cerebral cortex or cerebellum. We'll discuss this brain center now soon. Physiology of the spinal cord. This is your sushumna. While all reflexes have the properties just mentioned, they do not necessarily exhibit them to the same degree. For example, the flexion reflex has a shorter latent period. This you must remember about this. The muscles involved in these two reflexes are reciprocally innervated. Muscle can be classed as synergist or antagonistic. These are the two things you must remember. Flexors and extensors, for example. One is synergist and another is antagonistic. SYNERGISTS, synergist, SYNERGISTS, or antagonist, ANTAGONISTS. Those cooperating to produce a given movement are synergists. Usually more than one flexor muscle is concerned in flexing a joint, or more than one extensor muscle in straightening a joint. So those coordinating to produce a given moment are called synergists. Those which oppose the action of other muscles are antagonists. Flexors of the knee and the extensor of the knee, or flexor of your arm, biceps, and antagonistic is the triceps. In any coordinate reflex, if one muscle contracts, its antagonist must relax. You already know about how the various muscles are involved in that. The nerves controlling antagonistic muscle permit the type of action. Stimulation of a pain fiber in the right leg results in contraction of the flexor muscles and relaxation of the extensor muscles of the right leg, and the opposite effect in the flexors and extensors of the left leg, which you already discussed yesterday. As muscle must generally is one muscle contracts, the antagonistic muscle relaxes. But in an emergency, or like stepping over a nail or thorn, your right leg, suppose stepping over a thorn, the left leg, immediately the reaction will be changed. Suppose the extensor muscle, the muscle which is now about to relax because of motion, the flexor muscles, that will immediately, the opposite muscle will contract, just to take relieve the muscles of the opposite leg which is got into the trouble. So this we already discussed yesterday. So that is only about, you must know about antagonistic and synergist muscles. So, stimulation of a pain fiber in the right leg results in contraction of the flexor muscles and relaxation of the extensor muscles of the right leg, and the opposite effect in the flexors and extensors of the left leg. Exactly opposite will take place. Spinal cord and the posture. In order to maintain any posture or position of the body, some muscles must be contracted. Such muscles in general oppose the action of gravity by keeping the body erect and are called anti-gravity muscles. In most animals, the extensor muscles fulfill this function. Muscles which are contracted for postural reasons are said to possess a tone, a state of partial contraction. As you probably can recall, a given posture can be maintained for a long period. It's like if you are standing for a long time, the extensor muscles are keeping against the gravity. Standing an hour or two, that means how that muscle can just do that. So there is a muscle tone is maintained, partial contraction is there, and this give the muscle tone necessary to maintain. It has been found that there are afferent nerve fibers coming from the muscle and receptors within the muscle. If the afferent fiber from an anti-gravity muscle are cut, this muscle can no longer maintain a postural contraction. So long as the afferent fiber to the muscle remains intact, though the muscle can still contract in response to the afferent stimulation from other regions. So the stretch reflex is the basis for muscle tone and posture. Stretching a muscle stimulates certain proprioceptors in the muscle. Activation of such receptors send afferent impulses into the spinal cord via intermediate and afferent neurons. The impulses are relayed back into the muscle that was stretched, and the very fiber that was stretched. An extremely localized response is thus set up. So that is about the muscle tone to remember. Now we come to the function of the spinal cord. We are coming now close to the next important lesson. We saw the spinal cord contains white matter and gray matter. Gray matter get the reflex, complete the reflex arc from the sensory area, or afferent nerves are brought, and that is exchanged in the gray matter, and then finally is transmitted to the motor nerves, to the afferent side of the reflex arc, and is brought to the particular organ for a particular function called reflex action. Now the spinal cord also contains white matter. This is very important for you to understand also, because you will soon understand how the Ida and Pingala functions and why we do bandhas and locks. So that's for the study. But in order to understand this white matter, we also must know a little bit about the brain, because then only you get the full picture. So we go step by step in this process now. Function of the spinal cord. One function we already know. We have so far seen the spinal cord contains centers for a number of reflexes. The neurons in the gray matter receive impulses from the receptors in the skin, viscera, muscles, etc. Interpret them and forward them to the appropriate afferent neurons, muscles combination. This already you learnt and you know thoroughly about it. If you not, please make sure that you understand that clearly. There are many more spinal reflexes possible than we have mentioned, for all which the integrity of the gray matter and its centers is essential. The afferent neuron of a reflex arc has been called the final common path, because impulses from many different regions converge upon, and impulses it sent out are the resultants of the influences playing upon. Now another function of the cord then is to convey impulses to the various regions and to and from the brain. Okay, so someone please come here, please. Help me. Diagram. We up to this time we have discussed only about the reflex action which takes place in the gray matter. But the other area, that is the important, the brain, is also involved in any of your actions, even unconscious action, even reflexes, like the mentioned before, it can be done without the spinal cord. But the spinal cord is severed without the connection of the brain in any way, then this reflexes is not complete. And so there is some other connection is there to your brain, and that is done through the white matter. These white matters also bundled in different groups. Some carries the impulses up towards the brain, and when it is brought to the brain, first it goes through the medulla, that is the end of the spinal cord, like a bulb, medulla oblongata or medulla. There it has been passed to thalamus, the brain, second portion, and there it crosses left side, impulse coming from the left side, sensation will be transferred to the right side of the brain, and same way impulse coming from the right side of the brain will be brought in the left. So exchange takes place at this place. So if the half the spinal cord is severed on the right side, rather left is okay, but the other half is gone, then the impulse is coming from the right side where it is half severed, that impulse will not reach the left brain, you won't have no sensation. That's why we do alternate breathing too, because impulses transmitted from right to left and left to right, right to left is been altered. So that process is taking place through this white matter or white portion of the spinal cord. But once it is arrived, it brought it to the brain, then it changed into opposite side. So the first basic thing you must understand between the connection between the brain and the spinal cord. There are then two types of impulses going through the spinal cord through the white matter. One is called ascending and the descending. This you can vaguely connect it to prana and apana, ascending and descending. Now, before we can discuss this ascending and descending, you must also know a little bit about your brain. Then only you will get a clear picture of. So, these ascending and descending things we'll discuss after discussing. First, get a little basic idea, and then we go to the brain, and then we get a relationship between how this been connected to the brain and the brain functions, and how the ascending, descending energies are brought from the various, not only to reflexes, to the spinal cord, gray matter, to the organs and back, but also to the brain. This may take little time, but this is the most important thing for you to understand this nervous system. It will really help you in understanding bandhas and so forth. So another function of the cord then is to convey impulses to the various regions to and from the brain. And these are the tracks by which these impulses are sent up and brought down. The white matter consists of only nerve fibers. You already know this is the gray matter and this is the white matter. These are grouped into collections of fibers which serve approximately the same function. Each such collection of fibers within the central nervous system is called a tract. So there are tracts here. These are the fibers in the which bundle together, different tracts which carries impulses in ascending tract. This side we put all ascending, this side is the descending tract. First you write that, then I'll explain the whole thing. Here is some of the main tracts which ascends the brain or descends from it. Each tract is found in the same position on each side of the cord. But here we are only showing the ascending tracts on one side and the descending so that we have more clarity. This we will discuss more about how